We're talking with Bill Shirk this morning, who is an owner of a couple of radio stations in Indiana, Indianapolis and Muncie, and he is getting a lot of attention these days because of the kinds of strange things that he does, including being buried in a coffin, alive, for 78 hours. That was the second time he'd done that. What else have you done, Bill?
Well, I jumped off the cliffs down in Acapulco. Now, all the feats that I've done have either been directly involved for charity or publicity in the name of a charity for that reason. I jumped off the cliffs in Acapulco where the cliff divers jump off in a straitjacket, and then went around the bend and hung by my brother's heels from a parachute as it was being towed by a rope and got out of a straitjacket.
We have a photograph here.
A photograph of it right there.
Now, who is
that's my brother. He works for the Marine Land of the Pacific. He rides killer whales. I was interested in that commercial you had on there about SeaWorld. But that was a problem because the only way they were going to bring us down is if I got off the jacket, and after jumping in to the ocean off the cliff, and I let the straitjacket dry out, the salt remained in the jacket, although the moisture left it. And then when I had it on upside down, the guy that put it on was the police guy there, and he didn't want me to get out, I don't think. But I started to sweat. It was about 95, and I was, of course, upside down, and the salt started to be an adhesive to my skin. It was like getting off a jacket that had been glued on, and it took 15 minutes. My brother broke his left ankle. So
so that was a hazardous stunt.
It was a hazardous stunt.
Well, now, you had another one here. We have another photograph we'll take a look at. This is one that didn't get...
Now, this is one that is kind of amazing. Houdini, only appearance he made in Indianapolis was on April 1st, 52 years ago this April, and I wanted to do something to commemorate his feat, so I jumped in the water in the White River that goes through the city at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I swam 14 miles in 6 hours. And the problem being is that the radio station there in Indianapolis, the year before, I had done a publicity stunt for, as far as concerned, for April Fools, and said there was a whale in the river. So everybody didn't believe it. Now, people were seeing me, but they'd call the media, they'd call everybody, and nobody'd see, they thought it was a joke. Finally, when I emerged, a couple of TV stations were there in the newspaper, and of course, I was under the doctor's care for 3 days with pneumonia. It was a 38-degree water temperature at that time. And
you had on a top of a wetsuit.
Yeah, I had a top of a wetsuit on. And my feet were taped because about half of it I had to walk, and there was a lot of glass and stuff in the river. I had a lot of right to protest about the condition of the river after I was in it for 6 hours.
These are the kinds of publicity stunts that have sort of gone off the scene, and you're reviving them. We used to see
it's a part of
a
our
long
country.
time ago.
It's folklore of our country.
Yeah, folklore.
But I have a problem being in the city, although the city has supported me, the city itself. They honored me one day, and I've gotten permission to do everything. I've done nothing that's been illegal. Like I would never go climb the World Trade Building, although I could walk over to Indiana National Bank 35 feet up and do it today. But if I'm not going to have permission to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it right. But the problem in the city is that the other media is a little reluctant to cover me because they think basically I'm trying to promote the radio station. Yeah. Which I can show you statistically is not true.
Well,
and that's not the reason anyway. As I say, I got into this because a gentleman approached me and said, "How would you like to hang by your heels and get out of a straitjacket as a publicity stunt before a circus, which is for charity?" And I said, "Well, great. Can you teach me?" He said, "Oh no, you can't learn how to do this." But a guy in the circus was an escape artist, and he says, "You show up, say you can do it, and then chicken out, offer $100 to anybody you can, and then play it up on your station." So I got into it for about a week, and then all of a sudden I said, "Hey, I'm going to learn how to do this." So I called the Yellow Pages Information in Chicago, talked to the Chicago Magic Center, met an escape artist, flew up there, spent 3 days with him, learned how to do it, came back, pulled off the stunt, and I've been doing it ever since. And I'll tell you, I really can't believe how much I really enjoy doing it. But since it was given to me because of the guy from the charity and because of that particular charity, I decided to devote the next 2 years of my life doing it strictly for charity.
Well, now, why does the public go for these kinds of stunts, escape artist activities and so on?
I think curiosity. They say people go to see race car drivers and stuff because they want to see wrecks. Maybe they come because they want to see me put my life on the line. Basically, I do put my life on the line. But I'm a professional in my field. And when people look at me and say, "Are you crazy?" I say, "No, I'm a professional in my field." And that's another thing. Any children that may be watching the show today, any of the children out there, don't do any of these kinds of things, or anybody who does not know what they're doing, because I think the worst thing in the world that could happen to me is if somebody would try to duplicate something I've done.
Without knowing it, without the preparation.
Well, even without, I don't see how they could prepare for some of the things that I do.
What's going to be your next big stunt?
I'm going for a world record, 2 world records in 1 feet. I will be hanging beneath a helicopter. The world record is 1,200 feet. I'll be hanging 1,500 feet. And the world record for getting out of a police regulation straitjacket is 23 seconds. I'm going to be attempting to break both of them. I'm just going to put an ice skate on my 1 foot here and put a rope through the blade and put it to a helicopter and go up about 1,500 feet and get out of the jacket hopefully within 23 seconds.
Gosh, and then long lenses will be focused on
My
you.
true dream, though, is within the next year to year and a half to be able to cross the Atlantic, or at least attempt it in a helium balloon. There have been 13 people try, 5 have been killed, but I think I have the knowledge and equipment to do it.
Bill, thank you for coming and being with us today and explaining this to us. Bill Shirk, who is a radio station owner in Indianapolis and Muncie, Indiana, and he is a man who does unusual things, to say the very least. Thank you for coming here today. We'll be right back and tell you about tomorrow.